All right, y'all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're tuning in. I'm grateful to have you here. We got JLP, Jesse Lee Peterson, back in the building, taking on what looks to be a very angry woman YouTuber, according to the title. This clip is from 2017, but brand new to me. I'm sure it'll be a doozy. I'm sure it'll be amazing, as always, when it comes to JLP content. But I wanted to check it out with y'all, my people, my family. So let's get it popping.
Black power.
He wanted to say
Black.
angry black woman, but he's gonna leave it to the black man to say that. Okay. Let's continue. This was Cynthia G back in 2017 when divestors were trying to tell her, listen, black men are not doing what they're supposed to do. It's time for black women to divest. And seek relationships in other communities, because black men just aren't doing it for them, and they're trashing their name and image all over YouTube. And before we even knew about YouTube, they had their codes that they were sitting there destroying the black community and black women in large. And no, they had their codes that they lived by, and we were trying to explain that to her. Other divestors were trying to explain that to her, but no, at that time she was steady saying that all black men were doing was doing what white supremacy taught them to do, and blamed black man's failures and continued failures on white supremacy. And I'm glad to see that she has rebranded, but I am still questioning the rebrand, because I know that it might just be because she wants black men to do better and not fully realizing that they'll never do better. I know what comes out of her mouth, but for someone, to me, if you're not, this is someone that tells you not, downs marriage, and she calls divorced women baby mamas, someone that still has no respect for marriage, and it's because there are not many good black men out there to marry. So one of the things that black women do when they can't find a suitable mate in the black community, instead of really embracing that and saying, look, I need to just go outside my race and find a good mate, they twist and turn and do all these things, putting themselves in a pretzel, to do anything. They say don't marry, stay single. And I advocate you staying single for a while, getting to know yourself, traveling, and getting an education, and being the best you can be, so you can be the best wife you can be to a man who deserves that. Okay, I don't advocate you doing all of that to stay by yourself and be single or become baby mamas. Still, the actual baby mamas, not women who have actually taken the steps to marry and then become divorcees. You will not get away with using the term baby mama to a woman of class, of woman of in high society, who has been married and divorced with children. You cannot go around calling her baby mamas. That will not stand. So do not take on that low-class mentality that is part of a degenerate community. When you leave, do not take that with you. That will not fly. You will not be able to call divorcees in other classes, in other cultures, baby mamas, and get away with it. Okay? But this was Miss Cynthia back in 2017 on the white supremacy trip, blaming everything on white people. And I think it was probably maybe the wake-up call when black men just kept trashing her anyway. And you will see in this interview that they were laughing at her and trashing her. This is the Republican version of black men, which are just the same, because they blame everything on single motherhood. But if they were true Republicans, they would know that it is the man who chooses a woman who he feels will make a good wife and mother. Okay? So if there are men going around not knowing how to truly be men, whose fault is that, since a woman can't teach a man how to be a man? So whose fault is that? Okay? So these Republican men like this one here that's interviewing Cynthia, they both have issues in terms of, as far as I'm concerned. He's sitting here blaming single motherhood when, if he's a Republican, he should know that it is not just the women opening their legs without commitment. It is the men who are springing from woman to woman to woman, having all these children, and not taking the time to say, I need to be a role model and a father to my child, because she cannot teach him how to be a man. That is my responsibility. Okay, so they sitting there blaming everybody, the system or the welfare. They took me out of the house and all this other, like, crybaby faggots. I'm sorry. So this is what they're doing, and they were doing it back then, but she was defending them back then, talking about the way they're acting is white supremacy. She figured out, like what we were telling her, other content creators were telling her back then, it's not white supremacy, it's black male supremacy that is causing all these issues in the black community. Black male supremacy. And one thing this gentleman is going to say in a few minutes about the black woman who keeps teaching this generation after generation after, she just keeps teaching it because it was taught to her. So she is, by and large, keeping this going. And she can stop it anytime she wants to. But that's why I say to the young women, I don't waste my time on women, older generation women, teaching them, because they are too much invested in keeping things going the way they are going. Now, I tell the younger generation to run, run, run. Run.
Power. I'm Skyping with Cynthia G. Cynthia,
Yes.
I get the impression that you are an angry, nasty woman. Why am I
Well,
getting
Jesse,
that?
you
Why am
you get
I?
a lot of
You
false
like such
impressions,
a. You like
but I
such
would
a.
like to take a
Hold
minute
on.
to respond
I
to
will.
what you
Hold on.
said before we went
Hold
to
on.
break.
Hold on. Let me. Hold on.
You
Hold on.
you said
Hold
that
on.
that black
Hold on.
anger
Put on
is
hold.
why.
Put her. Yeah. Shut it down. Cynthia, you are. She's an angry, nasty woman, and it's these type of black women who are raising black boys and girls.
He really muted her. He didn't. Oh my goodness, Jesse is relentless. I love it. Bring this back. He put her on mute. He said, "Put her on hold. I got to at least get my intro off before she starts interrupting."
These type of black women who are raising black boys and girls that are becoming just like them, and they blame this on white people. And until we can change that situation, things are not going to get better.
And he's right about this. But black women did not create the culture. Black men created the culture. Black women keep perpetuating the culture, and they keep teaching that culture. Now, that culture raises black boys one way and raises black girls the other way. Black girls really are being raised to be wives and mothers. Black boys are not. So when they come together, that's where the disconnect is. because you have black girls who are being raised to be wise mothers. They cook, they clean, they take care of the people around them. They take care of the elderly around them. And they put up with a lot of shit from a very young age. When black boys are being coddled and not really being taught how to be good, men, because there's no male role models in their lives. Because the men keep dipping and skipping. They dip and they skip. So the Republican men should be getting on the men. Why are you dipping and skipping? You got a seed you need to take care of. Why are you dipping and skipping? The boy needs a good male role model. You as a Republican man should know that she as a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. So none of these narratives from Republican men who think they are better than the general population should be centered around the women. They shouldn't be talking to the women. They should be talking to the men. Because that is they need to teach those men how to be better fathers to the people, the offspring that they brought here that didn't ask to come here. And that's a major problem here. We have black girls being taught how to be do one thing, black boys being taught how to do another thing. And when they come together, that's why you have a huge problem. And the degenerate culture adds to that. Because here she is, it is her nature to try to please her man. The men who look like her, it is her very nature to try and please him. But he has a degenerate mindset. So she is going down in degeneracy, trying to please her man, which is in her nature to do. Now, the black woman is being taught how to be a wife and a mother and take care of the people around her. And that is why she flourishes when she is in relationships with men who are taught to be husbands and who are taught to be, protectors, providers, and non-abusers in a relationship. That is why she flourishes with every other race other than black men. Because she's being taught one way, he's being taught another way. And that is what the culture dictated. And black men placed the culture in place that we have now. The black woman keeps reteaching that culture. So that is one of the reasons why the younger generation has to break that generational curse and stop repeating what these older black women will not refuse to give up. Because you didn't create this culture. This culture does not benefit you at all.
All angry people feel like victims and they blame someone else for that. And if we don't deal, Cynthia, with what's happening in the home with these mothers destroying the souls of their children and then the race hustlers using them for their own personal gain, how would black people ever get better?
Well, first, I would like for you to ask why are white people committing so many crimes? And they have two-parent homes, they have wealth, they have opportunities, job opportunities, they have economics. They still commit the most crimes. So this is why I don't buy into your fatherless home narrative, because you have a community of white people who have fathers in their homes. And they're still being domestic terrorists. They're still being racial terrorists. They're still committing the most rapes and violent crimes. So I would like to know, why are they doing that when they have fathers in the home?
This sounds like a joke. Are you playing a trick on me right now? Are you being real?
I'm giving you facts, Jesse, and you don't have to like them, but they're still facts.
Where'd you get that data? You couldn't be any more factually wrong. Amazing. White people commit the most crime? Are you kidding me? Like, that should be common sense that that's not true.
Why did Phil from that Vice show refer you to us? Did he that? Did he think that you were going to make sense or something? What was the reason?
You would have to ask Phil about his decisions and referrals, Jesse. But I do
Bad
notice
word
that
of
you are
mouth.
deflecting, which is interesting. I would have expected the trolling to come from your callers, not from you, because
How
when
do
you
you
resort
see?
to petty name callings and making statements that bear no importance on the topic, that just means you're trolling.
So when you call
So
me white,
I'm starting to believe, Jesse, that you're the one who have nothing to say because you've reduced yourself to a troll.
when you call me white supremacy, was that
You
petty
are.
name calling? Was that petty name calling?
No, it
Uh,
wasn't. It was giving you an analysis on your rhetoric, my analysis on your rhetoric. And
Amazing.
it's in alignment with white supremacy. But you still haven't answered my question that I would like for you to
Well,
question,
in
because we're
any,
talking about the impact of fathers being out of the home. And we know that white people have the community with the highest rate of fathers in the home. So why are they committing so many crimes, and why are they
I'm just in. I mean, I'm glad that she is now at least on the surface talking about um the real problems in the black community, and it's not white supremacy at all. It is black supremacy, black male supremacy. But look how pretty she is. This woman is very pretty. And black males at that time when she was defending them used to drag her from left to right all over YouTube talking about her looks. Now she's a very pretty woman. And she, by and large, would be considered what they call the preference. She's light skinned and she's very pretty. And they still had no respect for her, and she was going to bat for them at that time. So, I don't know if that's what shook her out of her trance, or if it was now what Republicans and white Republicans now, calling her out on this white supremacy bullshit. But, I just picked this up because I'm glad that she has changed the tune a little bit, because this has nothing to do with white supremacy. And unfortunately, this is part of the culture that I'm talking about that just keeps getting retaught, and women are the ones that are reteaching it. Okay, so yes, the black men are there. They created that culture. Those who are there, especially the hotep groups, that keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And like I said, it is the nature of the woman to try and please the men, regardless of whether or not they want to admit it. It is within their nature to try and please the men around them, or their men. So it is the woman that keeps perpetuating and keeps reteaching this degenerate culture, and it needs to stop. But it's not going to stop with the older generation. It's going to stop with you, the younger generation, and you stop and you leave this bullshit behind. Okay?
why do they have a drug epidemic right now that can't even be stopped at this point? Why are they the biggest mass shooters? Why are they the biggest
let me,
pedophiles?
because of
Why do
time, hold
they
on, I
engage
got
in so
it.
much
I have
bestiality?
it. Come down. Come down.
Oh, I'm
So,
calm. I'm just
in
looking to get my question
in any
answered.
culture, you're gonna have good and evil because the battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil. So in all cultures, you're gonna find that. But
But that's not in all cultures, Jesse.
because
That's
black
almost exclusive. Some of these things are almost exclusive to
Cynthia,
the
hold
white
on. That's
community.
not true.
I
Hold
agree
on.
that there's good and bad in everything,
That's not
but
true.
what I'm
Y'all
talking
see the
about
eyes?
Hey,
isn't really prevalent in
Hey!
other cultures.
man. Uh, you're going to find good and evil in all cultures, but in the black community, it's out of control because you have
It's out of control in the
73%.
white community, Jesse.
You have 73% of black children born out of wedlock, and there is no sense of trying to correct that. So you see it more in the black community. When I call you a dirty, I mean a nasty woman, was that assessment with anger? Was that assessment?
No, it was
Was
a
that
petty
an
trolling
assessment?
tactic to bait me to get into an emotional state so you can try
It
to
wasn't too
prove a
late for
point.
that.
That's what that was.
Let me go to some calls real fast. We run out of time here. We're going to have you back because
Sure.
the problem we had with the Skype. Let me
Hmm.
go to Tony out of Chelsea, Michigan. Tony, good morning, sir. You're on with Cynthia G.
Hey, how are you doing, Jesse?
All is well. Thanks for
But
calling.
like a few callers ago, when you had the last person on, and a few callers ago, and the young man said, "Well, somebody's eyes are going to be opened up. Somebody's eyes going to be opened up from listening to her right here." The funniest part about her was when you put her on hold, how she was still going on. I mean, it was almost comical. And they won't understand when you talk about white
Ooh,
supremacy.
she about to get upset.
I'm from an area, Detroit. Detroit's been run by black people totally for over 40 years, and look where it's at. Just take one quick look. Buffalo. Look at Cincinnati.
Chicago.
These are politicians, black politicians, that are running these cities, and they run them into the ground. And I'm not saying anything. You don't have to. It has nothing to do with black or white, whatever. But that's what I see, and that's what's showing here.
And Cynthia, how do you respond to that? Who fought into that? Atlanta, Detroit, Gary, Indiana, Chicago, anywhere that blacks are in control is all hell to pay.
Well, black people aren't controlling any particular state, so that's where we disagree, because black people
Facts are
don't
facts,
control
lady.
those.
You can
But
disagree
when
all
you
day
do
long.
have areas where there aren't
Wrong, because now Michigan has been destroyed. It, this is, I mean, back then she was really, really, really delusional. As you know, and I would give her grace because of the culture that black women were raised in and are being raised in, to blame white people for everything, and whatever black people do or black men do that doesn't work out, it's still the white man's fault. So, I give her grace because at once upon a time we were all there. And I'm trying to make sure that you don't go there as younger black women. You just need to go make your own way. Make sure that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you are marriage minded, you make sure you keep your goals and get a man that is on your level. Never marry underneath you or beneath you, because that usually does not work out, especially if you marry a black man that is not on your level financially or education-wise. Okay, so water seeks its own level, you seek your own level. And go ahead and marry, date and marry a man who's outside your race, because the numbers are just not there. We talk about this all the time. We talked about this all the time. The numbers are just not there. There are not enough black men, suitable black men, for all the black women that are marriage minded and available for marriage. So right there and then, you just need to just branch out and go find your happiness. There are plenty of fish in the big, wide global sea. Okay? So do not put all your eggs in one little basket, because number one, the basket ain't big enough. And number two, there are holes in that damn basket. So you're putting your eggs in, it's dropping out on the bottom, and it's cracking. Okay? So, yeah.
any economic opportunities, where they've stripped the jobs from them and closed down schools, that's going to be a breeding ground for crime. But what we do know is that
Now, this is one of the excuses. The excuses about why there's crime. It has nothing to do with closing down schools and all that stuff. The reason why they're closing down schools is because these children are monsters. They go to school, they act a damn fool, they don't get their education, they're free education. Children of other nations, what they would do for free education? But mostly in the black communities here, they do take it for granted. And basically they go to school and make their teachers' lives a living nightmare. So we need to tell the truth and shame the damn devil and stop lying.
People have these opportunities, they have the education, they have the wealth, they have the job opportunities, but they still commit more crime. So why is it that there's so much
No, they
crime in the white
don't.
community under white people's control despite their benefits and
You're
resources?
saying things that are not true. What's
They
wrong
Right,
are
with?
because
true.
I don't. I've
They
I've
actually
never
are
seen. I
true,
don't see that.
Jesse. They're true, and according to the FBI data. So, are you saying that the FBI data that says that white people commit the most
Please
crimes,
share this
are you saying
data.
that the FBI data is incorrect?
Yeah, Cynthia, let
Okay,
me
so
ask.
and so where were you getting your information from, and how do you validate your information and your talking points? Because mine come from the FBI data,
Oh
yours come
Put it
Lord.
from
on the
your
screen.
opinion, and that's the difference between me and you.
Hey,
I work
Jesse,
with
have a good day,
facts.
man.
Thank you. You
You
too,
work with
Tony. Thanks for your.
Now, this was a problem with her back then too, is that she skewed data. And did not represent data properly, especially when it came to defending black males and their degeneracy. She skewed data wherever she needed to skew data, and sounded intelligent doing it, but still it was skewed data.
Call. Back in a moment, folks. Let me just put out there for the record, there are more white folks in this country, and so you're gonna have more white people doing some things. But for the number of blacks,
Not
hold on, Cynthia,
necessarily
hold
when they're
on.
claiming
Turn
to
the
be the
mic. Turn the
paradigms.
mic. But for the number of black folks in this country, disproportionately, they are committing more violent crimes and other issues in our country. So we need to deal with that. I'm talking to Cynthia. I'm going to have her back because we were supposed to have her on at the top of the hour, but there were a problem with the Skype thing. So
Crime data says
we're going to have her back. What a dirty woman. So
Do you see the vitriol that black men have for black women? There's no reason for him to be calling her that. No reason at all. What did she ever do that she would, can be considered a dirty, nasty woman? She has a different opinion than him based on the fact that she was raised in a degenerate black community by standards that black men put in place. And women were just perpetuating the degeneracy. But he feels entitled to call her a dirty, nasty woman because he feels that, he's better. He's disgusting. And I know he makes some good points, and he made some very good points in terms of black people blaming white supremacy on everything and so forth. But he calling this woman a dirty, nasty woman because her viewpoints are different and because he can't shut her up. Now she's a dirty, nasty woman. He's dirty and nasty for calling her that.
let's go to Realist out of Lakeland, Florida. Realist, you're on with Cynthia. Go ahead.
Yeah, just for time, I'm gonna sum it up like this. It's called demagoguery, and for the low informational voters who are ignorant of stats and that kind of stuff, if they don't know and they listen to these people that quote unquote supposed to be so intelligent and using intelligent words, it's got to be the most comical thing. And my heart goes out to the people who is actually listening to this garbage. It's almost comical. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Realist. I appreciate it. Cynthia, I'll give you the last word on this. We're running out of time. We're going to have you back so we can start off at the top of the hour, have more time with you. Everybody and their mama want to talk to you, so I want to give them a chance by having you back. Will you come back?
Oh, absolutely.
How do you see black men?
I see black men as a product of white supremacy. That's I see them as a product of white supremacy. They're in an inordinate circumstance, and they're having to deal with white supremacy, which has a very detrimental effect psychologically on anyone.
This is the indoctrination. And she was very, very, very much indoctrinated when she came onto YouTube. And spewing that crap to black women But I'm glad that she has woken up a little bit, because I think she still holds that white supremacy ideal, but now she does see that our immediate threat to black women is black male supremacy, and the degenerate culture that they have created, that black women keep alive.
So that's what I think. And I think you're also a perfect example of that as well, Jesse.
Why do black people see white people as smarter and stronger, especially black men? Why do they see them as being better than they are? Why do black people see white, such as yourself? Why do you people see white people as being smarter and better than you are? Because I don't see it that way. Why do you see it that way?
Well, Jesse, you can include me in that because I don't believe that white people are smarter and better
But you
than
do.
anyone.
You said it 1,000 times today.
No, I didn't. I
Yes, you
said that
did.
they have a attitude of white supremacy. I never said that was valid. So you can't put words in my mouth. I don't believe
But-
that they're smarter than anyone.
But you do. You have to say it.
Yeah, she's confused because you can't control another race of man with an idea. It's either they're supreme and they are ruling with that supremacy that's ingrained in society, and they're ruling with that. You can't suppress another man with an idea. So she is in essence saying that white men are superior. And basically she that's what she's been saying. The white men are superior and black men is under their foot. And black men have no other choice but to mimic white supremacist ideas because they have no power. So she is, again, turning herself into a pretzel, trying to defend the degeneracy of black males.
So many times, everything has something to do with white supremacists, according to you.
It does. It all goes back to white supremacy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I personally think they're supreme or intelligent. I don't. And if you've looked at my content, you would actually see that I don't believe that they're smart at all. I think they're
Now, this is ridiculous because, of course, they're intelligent. White men do not have the numbers globally to do what they have done globally. But they have done what they have done globally. That takes superior intelligence. Okay? So we're going to need black men to stop talking about their kings and all this other crap and they're too intelligent and start showing their intelligence. If they are actually this intelligent that they are. White men have shown their intelligence. That's why you're calling them supreme, because they have shown you their intelligence. They rule really everywhere they go. And that's not me trying to big up white men. I'm telling that's the damn truth. They rule everywhere they go. Why is that? Okay, so if black men were as they're the gods that they say they are, and I will keep telling you about that. Do not follow that the black man is God narrative. Do not. Because until they can show that they are gods, they don't deserve that title. And the title goes to the people who are actually showing godlike qualities, building wherever they go, making sure women and children are protected. So, and she just, the statistics in the black community, she's saying that white men are the most serial killers. That is not true. Black men hold that record. Black men hold that record of the most serial killers. They have killed more black women than white men. These white all we hear about is Jeffrey Dahmer and all these other things, but there are at least 3 black serial killers that have killed over 100 women. Okay? Black men are the ones shooting up black communities, killing people every day. These are serial killers that need to go into serial killer statistics. About 70% of black girls are sexually molested by black men before they turn 18. So then, therefore, is the sexual assault and sexual molestation statistics for black men, is that accurate on the websites? If black women are not reporting these and black girls are being shamed into not reporting these? Into reporting these? You know, she was really delusional back then. And unfortunately, a lot of older black women are still this delusional. Black women.
A while ago.
Thanks for coming on. We'll have you back, all right?
Oh my goodness gracious, land sakes. Everything is the white man's fault. White man, white woman, all of them bad. No accountability, no responsibility. This is what it comes down to. White people, they don't make you leave the home as a father or a mother in a black community. They don't tell you to not get married before you lay it down. They don't tell you to go out there and represent your hood and your block and killing your fellow brothers and sisters in these inner cities. They don't tell you to go sell drugs and get into prostitution and all this nonsense. Now, I'm not saying that's just black folks that do that, but let's really take a step back and look at it from an overwhelming perspective. You can't keep blaming everybody else for the results that you're getting. Nobody's out there holding you down. Nobody is out there to get you and keep you in a certain stagnant position and keep you at a plateau. Your decisions, that breeds what you get as a success or what you get as a detrimental outcome. Whatever happens, it comes down to you. Nobody else is going to uplift your community. Why don't you go make that happen? Why don't you go out there and teach these kids how they're supposed to do it so they don't have to rely on the streets and drugs and alcohol and gangs and things of that nature? Why don't you go out there and make a difference in your community instead of blaming everything on everybody else? If you don't change things up, if you don't remix it, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You can't keep crying racism everywhere you go because melanin content is irrelevant. It don't matter what you look like. There's one race, there's one blood created by God. The results you get in this world are based on the decisions that you make, the sacrifice, the determination, and the effort that you put into society, the value that you add. If you're a parent, raise your kids. Or if you're not a parent, be a responsible citizen. Don't engage in crime and violent activities. Go out there and uplift society. Go out there and just work hard. Pay your dues, pay respect to other people, love your neighbor as yourself. Instead of killing your neighbor and pointing the finger at everybody else, society would be a whole lot better off. There'd be a whole lot more fruitful outcomes if we just looked in the mirror, owned up to our actions and the consequences that happen for the decisions that you make, whether it's a good consequence or bad consequence. That's what it is. You can say what you want about Jesse Lee Peterson, but I love that man. God bless this brother. Pray for his safety. And this kind of honesty and bluntness is exactly what the black community needs.
To an extent, he covered things that were accurate. I did not appreciate him calling her nasty and dirty because she had a different of opinion. You can discuss things without going to that level. Basically, he was trying to tell everybody that this is an angry, nasty, dirty black woman. Okay? And this are the types of people that are raising our children, and we telling you that it's not our fault as black men, and it is the nasty, dirty black woman that is causing all the problems. And these comments, I'm showing them to you. These comments are something else. She didn't want a discussion. She just wanted another platform to spew her hate. I love how she classifies all white people as having wealth, which there are poor white people in poor communities that do a lot better with their resources and turn out a lot better products in terms of children than black people in the same situation do. Okay, and yeah, no, not basically saying that all people have resources, all white people have resources and so forth, and wealth is not accurate. But that is part of the degenerate black community that teaches this, and put it in place so that the black woman keeps repeating this generation after generation, instead of having the black men stand up and take a hold of these black boys that have run amok. They rather blame the black woman, and to some extent, portion of it is the black woman's fault, because she keeps doing the same error over and over again, producing these black males and not making sure that they have proper male role models. So to some extent, she is to blame, because she keeps perpetuating this degenerate culture, and she keeps having children without proper male role models to, guide the male in particular. And she does not go about protecting her children, because if you keep having too many children, you can't really protect them if you do not have proper, things in place to make sure they're well protected. So you're sending them to a zoo, which the public schools have turned into a zoo, because all these children are coming from like the same type of background. Even smart black people who knows what's going on will tell you they will not send their children to a public school in the black community, because they do not want their children being influenced by other people and their children, because they know it's a zoo. It's a literal zoo. So whose fault is that? It is not white supremacy that's doing that. It is basically black parents who are too lazy to raise their children, black men who are absentee fathers, because once the child is here, that is still your responsibility. If you do not want children, then you shouldn't be having sex with women, because there is a possibility that you will have a child. And black women need to take responsibility after one mistake, having a child out of wedlock without a proper male role model. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. But that, again, is within the culture. So, just going to look up some of these comments, and then I'm going to log off, because I, just came up in my feed. And I was like, oh, this doesn't seem like current Cynthia. This must have been when she first came up on the scene, and she was going back and forth with other black women who were trying to tell her, listen, your rhetoric isn't correct. Okay? You're sitting here defending these men, and they trashing you all over YouTube. And they know that, they're the ones causing most of the damn problems. But if the black woman will stop having children outside of wedlock and without the proper male role models, then we'll be fine. We'll have a lot of mixed children, but we'll be fine. Because we're not going to have that type with the current generation of black men that we have here. They are just not enough to make quality children. And if these men are not going to stick around and raise their boys and make sure their boys turn into law-abiding, great products of society, then again, why are you having them? A woman could die in pregnancy and in childbirth, and this is what this is the hill that you want to die on, producing these unproductive children that are menace number one to American society and global society. This is the hill we want to die on. This is what we want to be known for. As much as black men complain about the strictness of black women, I have Asian women friends who make black mothers look like Mother Teresa. Okay? Asian women do not play. But you don't hear Asian men going around talking about their mamas like dogs. There's something wrong within the nature of these males that you are producing. And you need to course correct. Either you need to reproduce with someone who's also marriage minded. Like I said back then, before, black women are raised to be wives. Black men are not. So there's a disconnect there. You need to go with other men who are also raised to be husbands, because you are raised to be wives. Okay, so I just wanted to come on here shortly, briefly. I'm going to be on and off for the summer because, well, you know, I got a life. But the plan has not changed. You know, the plan is still, you know, get yourself together, save your money, get out of the hood mentally, then get out physically. Educate yourself, keep your morals intact. Do not sleep around and hoe around, because that's not it. And travel, educate yourself, get therapy if you need it, to become a whole person, not filled with a lot of vitriol and hate. And then find your match. Seek your own level. And go for life and have a healthy, productive life away from all this degeneracy of this community that just holds you down, keep teaching you to perpetuate this nonsense generation after generation. Break the damn cycle and go be happy.